Welcome to the all-new Trainwell podcast, inspiring you to move more, get stronger, and have fun. I am your co-host, Darian Healy, alongside Joey Maestas. And today we're going to talk all about who we are, why we're starting this podcast, what is Trainwell. So let's jump right in and kick it off. Joey, do you want to tell your story first, who you are?
I would love to. So, Darian, thanks for doing this host with me. This is a dream come true for me. But I am born and bred in Colorado, and really, I had two big vehicles that steered me in health and fitness. Number one was my father, because he was a big pusher of sports. You know, he wanted his kids to grow up athletic, and we did. And to him, it was baseball, football every day of the week and twice on Sundays kind of thing. So got into sports at a young age, and down the line, I got into wrestling. And wrestling is my bread and butter. My brother-in-law was a 4-time state champ, wrestled at the Air Force Academy, and more on him later because he opened up some big opportunities for me down the road. But my second vehicle was my sister, Jamie. Now, Jamie is 12 years older than I am, and she got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, which is a neurological autoimmune disorder, at the age of 16. Now, this is in the 90s where nobody knew what was going on. And so it wasn't until years later where her symptoms got really bad, where she couldn't even get out of bed in the morning, couldn't even go to the bathroom by herself. She couldn't even feed herself. And so this is when I was in middle school, high school, playing all the sports. And I look over my left shoulder, and my sister Jamie's like struggling, right? And that was the major turning point for me. Like I had this huge appreciation for the intricacy of the human body. And from then I was just hooked and drawn toward how I can make myself as best I could, other people, right? That sparked a fire. So fast forward to Colorado State, went to CSU. Shout out any alumni out there. But I got my health and exercise science degree from there, my undergrad, and we were the best in the business at the time. We had the best and brightest professors, best curriculum. We had all the toys, Darian. We had force plates and VO2 metabolic carts and Tendo units, and you name it, we had it. And during that curriculum, I got my, with wrestling and my brother-in-law, Chris, he got me in the door in the Division I strength and conditioning at the Air Force Academy under Coach Drew Bodette. And Darian, I know your dad is Air Force, so integrity first, service before self, excellence in all we do. And then, of course, I did a long 400-hour internship in the CSU weight room under Coach Mike Kent. He was the head strength coach at the time, under Coach Bobo as well. And so along the way, of course, got my physical therapy experience, because everyone in the NCAA eventually gets hurt. So that's where I learned about dry needling and grass thins and ART and low backs and all the things. And then graduated. I was a strength coach at a local 5A school, trained an Olympian, Darian. This is a funny story. Sophia Smith, shout out. She's a member of the U.S. Olympic team for women's soccer. She was a stud in the World Cup and the Olympics this year, but got to train her. She came through the hallways of Fossil Ridge, Skull Ridge, and then helped start up a gym, performance gym, and we had it for almost 10 years with my good business partner, Josh Golden, and we sold it this last April. So Darian, I can honestly say I've trained everybody under the sun, from General Pop to Olympians, D1 athletes, and got every certification known to man. Cody will even tell you, he laughed at how many certs I had, from my FMS under Pavel Tsatsouline, or my RKC under Pavel Tsatsouline. We'll talk about him later, to my RKC, USAW, everything. And I'll tie a bow on it with this, is that through this whole journey, I have come to the realization that I am put on the planet for this, okay? I am here to hear people's stories, whether that's, hey, I want to earn a Division I scholarship, or hey, I want enough mobility to get on the ground and play with my grandkids, or you're dealt a really bad hand in life like my sister Jamie. I want to hear your story, and I want to use fitness to change that narrative for the better. So with that, I'll stop, and Mike's over to you.
Well, Joey, I want to know because, I have kids, you have kids. Looking back on that experience with your sister, especially now from the point of view also of a parent, it's really hard to see someone you love and care about, have something happen to them that really causes them to struggle. So how and I know you were playing sports. So how did that connect for you in your mind, especially at a young age? Like, because it sounds like your main passion now is helping people's lives change through movement, really strongly believing that through movement, through exercise, people's lives can change. How did you make that connection at that young age?
I didn't make it at that young age, to be honest with you. It wasn't until I started training people, because it was all about me. Like at the time, I was kind of a selfish kid, right? I wanted to be the best in my sport. What really made me draw the connection between the two was when Jamie actually started getting her physical therapy treatments later on. She went out to Boston and got some amazing care work there. And we started seeing little improvements, little windows of hope, right? And so that was A. And then the other part was when I started training people from various backgrounds. Like I mentioned, we were in the physical therapy clinic working with this one particular client of mine. Phil Bogetto, he passed away, but he had Parkinson's disease. And I was only 20, 21 at the time, brand new to training. And I realized that I can have an impact on this, that movement is really medicine. We hear that through undergrad all the time. And it wasn't really until then where I saw what it can do for the body, the psyche, the mindset, everything. I wish I was a little more mature back when I was in middle school, high school. I could have made that connection a lot sooner.
Yeah, well, it's amazing to be able to look back and kind of put all those pieces together of how your journey was formed. And I'm so glad that we're doing this together because I think we ultimately got to a really similar place, but in a much different way. So to tell you and the listeners a bit about myself, um, I have always been a super active kid. I grew up climbing everything, using the jungle gym in the way it's not supposed to be used, walking on top of the monkey bars, going up the slide, crawling everywhere, doing crazy things. And movement has always been a big part of my life as a child. I was extremely active. And I didn't really ever get into tons of formal sports, but I did figure skating and I ran some track and just generally loved physical challenges, loved to move my body. And then when I went away to college, and I find while I'm, so, you can be hesitant, I think, to tell a personal story, but the more I've told my story, the more I realize how common it is. While I think everyone's story is very unique and individualized, I stumble upon a similar story to mine quite often where I went away to college for the first time. I am not easily involved in any sort of athletics. I'm not, a college athlete. It's not obvious to me how I'm going to start moving my body. And for the first time, I'm away from home. So my parents aren't making me meals anymore. I'm fending for myself. And I'm in a brand new place, making brand new friends. And it was a struggle. I did find myself not totally feeling like I was in the right place, really struggling with leaving home. And by my second year of college, I was pretty depressed and turned to, after having gained a lot of weight my freshman year, as a lot of people do, I learned about dieting for the first time. I had never thought about dieting before. It wasn't present in my family in any way. And I started to lose a lot of weight and kind of just sink deeper into this whole depression because I was alone, very isolated in college, away from my family and away from my friends that I grew up with, and did end up developing an eating disorder. And that also became an exercise obsession. So all of a sudden, this thing that I loved as a child that I've always wanted to is move my body became very obsessive and unhealthy. But I didn't really know that then. I was in school. I was studying theater, although I think I was doing that because I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I knew I loved performing and being in front of people and connecting with others. So that was kind of the path I took. But all the while in college, just obsessively going to the gym, taking spin classes, the cardio thing that a lot of people do before they know what to do in the gym, really. They know how to get on a treadmill or an elliptical. It's pretty easy. So I kind of took that route. And, it did. After college, I moved to Los Angeles. And that's really when I discovered strength training. And that's kind of started to shift things for me in my mindset, because while I was still very body focused, as a female in the United States, we get, and a lot of places around the world, we get this messaging of be smaller, be thinner. You have to kind of fit into this very specific mold of what beauty is. And when that was still in my mind, but discovering strength training kind of opened up a door for me where I was like, oh, I have a way to be more capable. Because I think that was part of what was so hard about moving away for the first time was, oh no, my parents aren't here to do things for me anymore. It was scary. I think a lot of people kind of feel that when they move away from home for the first time. And I realized, oh, through strength training, I can be strong. I feel powerful. I'm lifting all this weight that I never thought I could lift. It gave me a sense of independence, really, that I'd never had before. And that's where things kind of started to shift in my head. Wait, maybe I don't have to be super skinny. Maybe I don't have to fit into this mold or do all this cardio. Maybe I can start lifting weights. But of course, Joey, when you get these messages your whole life, and when you're coming from an eating disorder background, it's hard to break out of that. And it was another, multiple years of dieting, trying everything under the sun you could imagine. And, I was into paleo, into being a vegan, into keto, into all these things. And while I think potentially there's a place for those things for some, it was a very unhealthy behavior for me. So all that to share that because of, this dark place I was in, I did end up getting into the fitness industry pretty early on. When I was 22 years old, graduating college, became a spin instructor, and then eventually got into CrossFit, started teaching weightlifting, powerlifting, CrossFit style classes. Got multiple certifications after that, including certifications in nutrition as well. So ultimately, it did lead me to a lot of education, and it did lead me to eventually healing my own issues with food and fitness. And now I would say that is what I am most passionate about, is really helping people sort out their relationship with food and fitness and their body image, and get to a place, if it's not body love or body positivity, at least it's body respect. There are ways that we can respect our body even if we don't totally like our body yet. So I really, when I work with my clients, really like to talk about their relationship with food and fitness and body, and start to peel back the layers there. But what I always return to is something that you also always return to, which is I always come back to movement as number one. Because while you can take it to an unhealthy level or place, to me, there's nothing that gives you greater power in this world than being able to move your body well. To feel that power and independence and capability and confidence is to move well, feel strong, and feel capable. So that's how I got to where I'm at now. And I'm so excited to have you here, because I think what you bring to this podcast, and you can correct me, is you're going to bring that science background, that foundation of science to this podcast, and your perspective of being an athlete, working with athletes. And I think what I bring is more of this journey of fitness, this love for fitness through all of this hardship and this experience that I think a lot of people can relate to. And how do they kind of move past that and into a really healthy place with exercise and body?
Darian, that story, people need to hear that story. And especially, I love what you said there about the media today, especially growing up in theater, in college, and you transition out of it, like everyone gets portrayed to have this mold or this certain look or this certain physique, especially for women, right? And to have that power to step out of that, more power to you, man. And I'm excited to see where this podcast goes. And just for the record, if you have a body, this is Coach Bill Bowerman of Nike. He says, if you have a body, you're an athlete. So let's treat all ourselves like athletes, right? We want to be capable, just like you said, Darian.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so excited to continue sharing our unique perspectives on the podcast. So I think let's talk about talk a little more about the podcast and where we're going from here. I think part of the reason we had wanted to do a podcast was because we work for this amazing company called Trainwell, and Trainwell is um, an a, a fitness app that connects people to personal trainers. And it I don't we don't need to go too deep into what the app is, because we are going to have so many episodes talking more about Trainwell. We're going to actually be meeting with the founders of the app to talk about their vision, where they see the company going. But what I do love most about Trainwell is that this is the future of fitness. And it's not just because it's technology, because people tend to think, oh, the future is technology. I think it is technology, but also Trainwell is focused on health, longevity, sustainability. At Trainwell, we're not the get ripped quick, 60-day to getting shredded, quick fix type of trainers. We are down to earth, judgment free, what actually works without all the bells and whistles, which I do think is the future of fitness. It's not about looking a certain way. It's about feeling a certain way and feeling power in your body. And I think that's what Trainwell has to offer. And Joey, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Darren, you hit it right on the head. I mean, it is the future of fitness. And our sole mission, right, is to help our clients build strength, confidence, and health, right? Those are really the three cornerstones of what we're trying to achieve. And we're very human based. We're not AI based, right? So there's another human on the other side of that app that's knowing what you're going through, that's pivoting programs for you, that's understanding and empathizing with you. And again, we really want to change this future of the shift toward longevity and health. And that's what we're here to do. And we're going to do it one human being at a time. We're going to reach thousands and millions of people, and we won't stop until we're satisfied.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is what you said about that human element. I think is one of the most important things about the app is all the trainers are real people with real stories who love fitness and want to help others find fitness in their lives in a way that makes sense for them, right? It's not about, okay, you need to figure out how you're going to change your life to fit this program into your life. It's about a trainer and an expert listening to you, trusting you, believing you, hearing your story and going, let's work together to come up with a program that's actually going to fit into your life and evolve and adjust with the client. That is so important to us at Trainwell. And um, as well as just giving you the education, the motivation, giving you resources so that you can keep making, being part of your own fitness journey, being an active participant in this fitness journey. So what we have coming up for you on the podcast, some things we hope to share with you. Like I said, we're going to be meeting with the founders of the app, talk to them about their stories. We hope to be, bringing other trainers onto the podcast as well, hearing their expertise. We have so many incredible trainers here, like the best of the best trainers at Trainwell, who all come here with their own specializations and their own stories. And there's a wealth of knowledge that we want to pull from. We want to talk to clients. We want to hear your questions, listener questions, client questions, and we're going to answer those for you. Some of the topics that we're going to be talking about, we're going to talk about motivation. the psychology behind motivation. We're going to talk about gym anxiety, weight loss, fat loss, nutrition, recovery. We're going to talk about cardio, basically all your burning questions, things that we hear all the time from our clients. Because Joey and I, we work with so many people, have worked with so many people. We've both been in the industry for about 15 years. We've worked with everyone you can imagine. So we want to share that experience with you and help you figure out your own path to health and fitness.
Guys, thanks so much for listening. That's going to be a wrap on our first intro episode. Stay tuned, like Darian said, for more fun, insightful, and informative content coming soon. We'll talk to you guys next time.
Bye.